And the river still shines and shimmers in the light as it did in our grandfather's day, when they rode all night to fish in the morning and lived in Willapa Bay.
Next we have Dennis McGuire. He's a 50... Oh, what did I do with my glasses? I know nobody else in the group has that problem. He's a 50-year commercial diver and fisherman from Washington and Alaska, and has worked in Cordova, Copper River, and Prince William Sound. Please put your hands together for Dennis McGuire.
Evening, folks. Tonight I'm going to bring back a poem. I wrote this poem for the first Fisher Poet I attended about 15 years ago. I wrote it in honor of the Columbia River Coast Guard and a taxi cab driver in Astoria. They saved our lives here on the Columbia River Bar. You might have noticed buoy 10 on the road as you go by the Coast Guard Museum. I think you could find lots of stories about buoy 10, and that's why I think it's sitting in the parking lot. This is a story about buoy 10 and a boat called Froya, and a guy named Joe, my deckhand. We just come in from a fishing trip. We were low on ice. We didn't really want to come in and quit fishing, but we had to. Had to take all those fish. So we were headed in for Ilwaco. We were crossing the bar, about a 10-foot swell. Almost midnight. All was well. Following sea, 10-foot swell. We didn't have a clue. We were headed for hell. Riding the top of a big flood tide, keeping red buoys to the starboard side. Gonna deliver our tuna in the Ilwaco. And we'll go have a beer and a taco. Little did we really know, Tommy Knocker was running this show. Buoy 10 off our bow. That's when the Tommy Knocker struck. And how? Surfing in on that red buoy at night. Got to keep the light on my right. But the helm felt unduly slack. I could not get the bow to come back. Now we're surfing. What a ride. And that red buoy shot past our port side. All I could do was say, we just hit. When Froya piled up on Clatsop Spit. Heaved up on the spit, top of the flood. Looked like Mother Nature was out for blood. All the windows went away with the first wave. I did not think which boat we could save. The VHF on the blink after I took a big drink. On the CB, a call I put out, a cabbie in Astoria come back with a shout. We're on the bar, Clatsop Spit. We can't last long. We need a Coast Guard, lickety split. Boat's on her side, windows blown out. We can't last long. There is no doubt. Cabbie said, waves are breaking over with tremendous fury. A cabbie said, they'll be there in a hurry. They come by sea. They come by air. Now the Coast Guard is everywhere. Up in the sky, a chopper does fly. I asked the cabbie the reason why. He said, they're going to drop a basket on you. There'll be a line in it from that big ship out yonder. But touch that basket, you better not. That static electricity is really hot. So me and Joe are hanging on the mast. Basket's just swinging past. I swing a gaff hook with all of my might, and it lit me up like a neon light. That cabbie's warning was well-founded when that basket I had grounded. Well, in it, there was no line. Then the cabbie comes across the radio, tells us we must now evacuate. I yelled to Joe, get in the basket, Joe. His eyes are wide. He's shaking his head, no. I think he would have tried if he hadn't just watched me fly. I tell the cabbie, we're not getting this in this cab. We're not leaving this boat. We got to find a way to make her float. The cabbie says, well, okay. And that chopper, it flew away. A boat sent into the breakers now, trying to get close to our bow. Poor Froya, they could not reach. Now there's two boats on the beach. Another boat comes in on the run. This party's really getting fun. Under this parachute's flare-lit night, the Coast Guard's lines are stretched tight. Off the beach, their stranded brother they hauled. All this while, we're still being mauled. Into the surf, another boat comes in, only to smack that beach again. The Coast Guard is busy pulling each other off. To them, my hat I doff. I'll bet those kids from Peoria cursing the day they wound up in Astoria. Well, the cabbie comes a radio. He says, they're going to give her another go. From their boat, a small line will be dispatched. You haul it in, and there'll be a hawser attached. So me and Joe clinging to the mast. Whatever we do, Joe, we got to get that line. Because, my friend, we ain't got much time. A loud report rips through the ocean's fury. Joe and I react in a hurry, hurling ourselves into the night sky to catch this line as it's going by. Then of a sudden, there's a loud whack. When that bullet, the mast, it did smack. Joe's looking at me with a silly grin. That bullet landed where our heads had just been. Well, we hauled in the line, got the hawser, and tied her off to the bow. Told the cabbie they could start pulling now. That line stretched tight through the surf. Those coasties were pulling for all they're worth. Another shot rang out through the din. Joe and I hit the deck thinking they had a shot at us again. But to our dismay, that line had parted and gone away. Another boat comes in on the run, only to smack that beach again. Another shot rings out through the din. They shot at us again. Joe and I hit the deck, thinking, this is never going to end. Another boat comes in, and then McGuire forgets his next line. Just like that. This sucks. Anyway, Another boat comes in. They fire another line. This time, we get her. I'm completely lost here in the poem. We're just going to tell the story. You're a good audience. I love you. Forgiving. So anyway, where was I? Help me out, Pat. We got that line tied off to the bow. Told the bow cabby they could start pulling now. The line stretched through the tight to the surf. I already said that, didn't I? Yep. I'm having a ball up here. I'm terrified. Where the hell was I? Let me think here. Okay. God, how can it go blanco? I mean, completely blanco. Okay.
Start from where the line parted.
The line parted and gone away. Into the coast, into the surf, comes another boat on the run. Now this party's really getting fun. Under this parachute flare light, I did that right. Anyway, we got tied up. It all went well. Coasties are pulling for all they're worth. Out of the surf, no. Then the bow, come round toward the sea. From Columbia River Bar, had let Froya go free. Down below, we found the steering quadrant broken. Tommy Knocker's gun was smoking. 5 a.m. when we got hauled into Ilwaco, it was omelets and coffee instead of a beer and a taco. Good God, that was bad. I am literally terrified up here. Okay, let me tell you something else. I see. They're pretty funny, isn't it? Yeah, this guy's getting a big kick out of my pain and misery. So anyway, so are you, I see. So, okay, so anyway, this speaks to the brutality of what we do and the respect we have for this fish. We take care of our fish as best we possibly can under conditions of wild weather and hard to get to a tender to get the fish off, and got to get them filleted. You know, everything got to be perfect right down the line. So when it hits your plate, it's the best salmon you ever ate. And so that was how fishermen can account for the brutality of what we do. And so this poem kind of gives you an idea of what we do. This old workhorse, the stall, she's a bangin', because the Cordova 500 saddling up for the hanging. 250,000 horses on bit stay chomp. Now the Cordova 500's wearing the romp. Crossing the flats on a high-strung steed. It's great to be a rider in the Cordova Stampede. Out of the bars these ponies are pouring. A great big minus ebb tide, she's a roaring. 500's looking for a big surprise when the hanging commences at sunrise. Fish and feathers, good looking too. They're really hoping they're gonna be hanging you. Nets go whizzing off the boats. Water's a tangle of little white floats. Tide's gone away. All's left is sand. Everybody's picking fish to beat the band. On top of a hill, a lonely soul looks around. He's not fishing, 'cause he went aground. Tide's coming back in a flooding fury. Nets go over the line in an awful hurry. Fish and feathers, they're to pounce, taking every fish right to the last ounce. Bucking home when the hanging's done, we're bucking into the midnight sun to tell our stories and fish tales and how we frolic in those galloping gales. Now Nellie's back in her stall. She ain't fishing 'cause it's late fall. Waiting for spring, this salty steed, waiting for Cordova Stampede. That's what I got for you. That's what I got. I hope you could. I just really appreciate this audience. You've really allowed me to suffer up here in comfort. Appreciate it. Dano?
Well, it's good night, Joe. Guess we've had us a time. Wore a hole through them cards and you took my last dime. But you ain't beat me yet. You've had plenty of time. Ain't there nothing two old fools can't do? Better get on your way. There's a breeze blowing easterly. You're a slowpoke and it's no joke. You ain't what you used to be. Those clouds on the moon make it harder than hell to see, and you know it's a long way to go. And it's good night, Joe. Don't forget to put plenty of coal on the fire.
So I'm very lucky to have Mary with us. Mary presented last night at FisherPoets Gathering. And Mary, I so enjoyed your performance. Can you tell me more about your work?
It's not really work the way I do it. They just sort of come to me and I just write them down. That's about it. And I see all these people really, really work. And I feel guilty because I'm not really, really working. But I think there's stories out there or people out there that want to be talked about or that they want to give us their stories. So I'd like to have a song about a boarding house lady up there and canneries and some women, not probably half and half, men and women, but some of the shore things as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's very important.
Well, Mary, you're lucky that they'll just come to you and you can share them with all of us. What would you like to share with other people about the FisherPoets Gathering and why they should come and maybe tips?
Yeah, definitely should come, and it's a great amount of fun. The weather this year is perfect. It's been snowing and icing before, but it's perfect this year. And it's just incredible history, and you have to sort of look for where stuff is because it's sort of spread out, but there's stuff in the library, stuff in probably the Maritime Museum still, I think. And down at Pier 39, there's a lot of stuff in the center part of town. It's just really great. And some of the places have food and drink as well. It doesn't get better.
Mary, anything else you want to share with us?
No, I'm just very honored to be here. I'm not really a fisher myself. The greatest respect. I've worked in fisheries research and have some, I lived in Newfoundland, so I got a lot of experience there. But I'm not exactly a fisher. I'm not at all. I would last 5 minutes on a boat and I'd be swept overseas even if it was calm.
Mary, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you.
Take care.